This is Ke Jin-do, a fisherman from the Penghu Islands in Taiwan. Like the other fishermen here, he fishes with a motorboat. Ke's father and grandfather were also fishermen. However, they fished in quite a different way. They fished using a stone breakwater. This is the stone breakwater built by Ke's family. It is heart-shaped and made of stone. It exploits the tidal motion of the sea. When the tide rises, fish enter the breakwater. When the tide falls, the sea recedes and the fish are left trapped inside.
Then we would catch the fish inside the breakwater and collect them.
This was built in Ke's grandfather's generation. In that era, building a stone breakwater like this was a huge project that could never be accomplished by a single family. Ke's grandfather had 4 brothers. The 5 of them and their 3 cousins, 8 families in total, clubbed together to build this breakwater. After that, they fished in turns, one day for each family.
The entrance to the breakwater has to face towards the incoming tide. We need to know the direction of the tidal flow and judge whether it is flowing eastwards or westwards. It has to face that direction so the fish can swim in.
Used to build the breakwater are piled up layer upon layer. Such a huge breakwater requires lots of rocks. It was a great challenge for Ke's forefathers to carry all those rocks here.
These rocks all came from the sea. Some of them weigh over 100 kilos, some even close to 200 kilos. How did they manage to move them up there? At the very beginning, the rocks were carried on wooden boards. There were no machines back then. The stones were moved on wooden boards one by one. Then, when the tides rose, they were floated up to the right position. With the help of the water, it was much easier to carry them. Without water, it was hard.
When the stones were floated to the right places, they were piled up one by one to make a breakwater with a vertical outer wall and an inner one with a gradient of 5 degrees. The slight gradient was the product of his forefathers' rich experience. It can resist the force of the wind and waves. When the waves hit, the rocks won't topple over.
The entire breakwater depends on the top layer of stone. If the top layer is not well built, the stones will gradually topple and slowly the entire breakwater will collapse.
In this way, the 8 families united to build this breakwater one stone after another. It took them 8 years to complete.
Some took 18 years and some 16. Most breakwaters took over 10 years to build. The fastest would still take 8 years.
Although the breakwater fell into disuse long ago, the story of how it came about makes Ke Jin-do proud. For him, this is his family's triumph. It is said that this craft was introduced from the Chinese mainland.
Logically speaking, this method of fishing using a stone breakwater was probably introduced to Jibei Island from the Chinese mainland. That must have been over 3 centuries ago.
Throughout the Penghu Islands, there are many breakwaters like the one made by Ke's family. They lay across the East China Sea like necklaces, witness to the Chinese people's wisdom of understanding, complying with and utilizing nature.
I am from Longhuang village in Gansu province. My name is Li Yingbin. I am a goatskin raft sailor in the village.
Li was raised beside the Yellow River. For over 3 decades, he has been sailing his raft on the Yellow River. This ancient water vessel was originally called Leather Bag during the Tang Dynasty. It is small and light with a shallow draft, so it is perfectly suited for travelling on the Yellow River. Today, Lee is going to transport this load of apples, dates and wool he's collected to the nearest bazaar in Heishan Gorge. Li Yingbin's family lives in Longhuang village on the upper reaches of the Yellow River. Here, the Yellow River snakes about in several curves like a dragon's tail. That's how it got its name, Dragon's Bend. On one side of the village is the Yellow River, on the other is a stone forest and cliffs. The only pathway connecting Longhuang village to the outside world is the Yellow River. For generations, the village's main mode of travel has been goatskin rafts. A few years ago, a road was built to the village, but as Heishan Gorge is only 70 kilometres away, Lee thinks renting a car is pointless. The goatskin raft is a much better choice.
Well, men, are you ready to go?
Yes!
Prepare to push off!
Right!
The source of the Yellow River is on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau. Its total length is over 5,400 kilometres. Near Longhuang village, the current is turbulent and dangerous. Soon after Lee sets out, he reaches a place called Eastern Salesman. Many years ago, a travelling salesman had his raft flipped over here and lost his life. Since then, the place has been known as Eastern Salesman.
Row harder! It's Eastern Salesman! Be careful, everyone!
Sit tight! Sit tight!
There are 2 big whirlpools here. You need to go between the 2, but not too near the sides. The current at the side will drag you in. If you get dragged in, it requires a huge effort to get out of the whirlpool.
The waters of the Yellow River are constantly changing. Right after they passed Eastern Salesman, the river surface becomes serene and gentle. The water is much shallower. However, the submerged rocks hidden in this shallow water can easily break his raft.
Come on, men! Hold fast! It's too shallow here! It's only 3 or 4 meters deep! Pull harder! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3! Brother, one of the goatskin bags is broken! It's broken! Brother, take the glue! Brother, it's split open here. Look, there's a crack here. It's split. Curve the patch, then stretch it out. Repair it stitch by stitch. Why do we stitch it with hemp cord? When soaked in water, the cord will swell. The more water it absorbs, the tighter it will get. The bag is made from mountain goat skin. Normally, we use the skin of male goats. The older the goat is, the longer the goat lives, the thicker and tighter its skin gets. Brother, let me see if it's waterproof. Yes, look, the patched part doesn't leak now.
The rafts used on the Yellow River come in different sizes. The largest one is made of over 600 bags. Lee's raft is a small one made of only 14 bags, suitable for short distance trips.
Hurry up! Time for lunch!
Lee has 4 children. They have all grown up and are now working in the city. The children all want Lee and his wife to live in the city, but he has never moved. He's not willing to part with his free life as a raft sailor.
一大大水，咱们中央啊，
The life of a raft sailor is extremely tiring and tough, but it's free. It makes me happy. Whenever I feel troubled or get scolded by my wife for being a rascal, or whenever I feel out of sorts, I'll sail my goatskin raft, singing and drifting about on the waves. It makes me happy.
Soon after they set out in the afternoon, the rafts reached Guanyin Cliff. The cliff is like a giant screen standing in the middle of the Yellow River, which changes the direction of the current, forming whirlpools of various sizes. It also changes the direction of the wind to create turbulence. This puts Lee's rafts in even more danger.
Hold on! The wind is the most terrifying, especially gales. Generally, we don't worry about a wind force of 4 or 5, but we struggle in a gale force 6 because our rafts are man-powered. The wind will blow you away, blow you into a cliff, or flip your raft over. We can't win against the wind. Manpower has its limits. If you encounter big waves, you must paddle skillfully. Otherwise, you'll get pulled down by the waves. You should sit back and stay on top of the wave. Stay on the level so you can float down from the wave. There's a trough next to the peak of the wave. If you go into it, your raft will get flipped over. So we must ride with the wave. Keep going, men! Be careful!
For over 300 years, generations of raft sailors like Lee have struggled to make a living on the Yellow River. There is an old saying: when you encounter a big wave, ride on top of it.
Time to unload.
In the evening, Lee's team of rafts reaches Haishan Gorge. The men unload their cargo. The bags are collected and stored in a nearby village. Tomorrow, after they've sold the goods, they will collect them and head home.
The farmers here all depend on the Yellow River. We drink from it and use its water. Without the Yellow River, Longhuang villagers would not be able to sell produce to other villages. So we're lucky to have the Yellow River. We farmers cannot do anything without the Yellow River. This mother river takes care of us.
Polyang Lake is the largest freshwater lake in China. It lies in the north of Jiangxi province on the southern bank of the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River. With heavy rainfall, its surface area can reach over 4,000 square kilometers. It is an important regulatory storage lake on the main branch of the Yangtze, known as the kidney of the Yangtze River. Dai Mei Xia is a fisherwoman from Guanyiqian village on the shores of Polyang Lake. She and her husband come to cut bamboo by the lake.
I've been fishing all my life. The last 3 generations of my family have been fishermen. My grandfather used fishing nets, and then my dad used fishing hooks and clips. That one, straight ahead.
This one?
Yeah.
Whoa, it's so hard to bend.
People have been making a living from fishing around Polyang Lake for over 3,000 years. Their forefathers invented many different fishing methods. Dai Mei Xiao's family still practice one of them, fishing with bamboo clips. Today, they have come to cut bamboo to make these bamboo clips.
We can make as many as 1,000 today.
While Dai is out cutting bamboo, Feng Ying, who lives by the lake, is just getting up.
I am originally from Duchang. I got married and moved here to Polyang County in 1996. I'd never fished before, coming from a farming family, but people here are fishermen. I thought it was easier to fish than farming, so I moved here. But it turned out that fishing was even harder than farming.
When Feng first moved here, she used to get seasick and didn't know how to fish. She had to live on the boat for 6 months each year, which was difficult for her to adjust to. It took her about 3 years to adjust to the life of a fisherman here. Later, she discovered there were over 100 different fishing methods used on Polyang Lake, so she found the lives of the fishermen very interesting. Recently, she heard of a fishing method that uses bamboo clips. Today, she wants to buy some and try them out.
We did well today. We can make more clips.
Around noon, Dai Meixia returns home. She unloads the bamboo, then boils a pot of water and pours it onto the stems. The clips for fishing are made of bamboo and reeds. The reeds were collected during spring. Dai Meixia pours boiling water repeatedly on the stems of the reeds to increase their toughness and prevent them from cracking under the strain of the clips.
Without boiling water, the reeds would split when stretched by the clip. They need to be heated and made pliable so that they won't snap.
While the reeds are drying in the sun, Dai Meixia starts processing the bamboo. She whittles the bamboo stalks with her special clip knife to make them into pointed needles. Three hours later, she has made 1,000 needles. Once the reeds have been dried, she cuts them into pipes at around 1.5 to 2 centimeters long. She secures a piece of thin wire to each of the needles and bends them into bows. Then, at the pointed end, the pipes are tied on and the bait and grain are added. Now the clips are ready. After making all the clips, there's one last step, bundling the clips. Dai Meixia fixes the other end of the thin wires to a 1,000-meter-long fishing line. One clip is attached evenly every meter along the line.
There are 1,000 clips per basket, and I need to make 6 or 7 baskets for each ship. So 4 or 5 ships fishing in a row can cover a huge area of water.
In the afternoon, Peng and her husband come to Dai Meixia's home.
You want to buy clips?
Yes. Do you have bigger ones?
No bigger ones. They're all small.
No bigger
What
ones?
fish do they catch?
They catch carp.
Peng's husband grew up on Polyang Lake. He has always used nets to fish. He has never used clips before. Today, he has just come here to satisfy his wife's curiosity. Feng fishes near Changshan Island in the middle of Polyang Lake. May happens to be the dry season. At the moment, only the area of the lake around Changshan Island has any water. They find a place where the waters are calm and cast out the clips. The clip operates on the same theory as a bow and arrow. When a fish eats the grain inside the bamboo clip, it will snap the reed. The curved bamboo needle will then be released and spring straight, sticking inside the fish's mouth. The bamboo clip is said to have been invented by Jiang Ziya. It is said that when Jiang Ziya fished in the Weihe River, he fished with a straight hook, exactly like this sort of bamboo clip. After half an hour, Peng starts drawing in the line.
Fish! I think the ancient people were so smart. They didn't have advanced tools, so they used bamboos to make these clips. The invented bamboo clips for fishing. I think the ancient people were really clever.
In addition to the Yellow River, there is another great river in China called the Yangtze River. These two great rivers and their various sized tributaries comprise the most important water system in China. The Qishui River is a tributary of the Yangtze River. Its source is in Zhenxiong County, Yunnan Province, and flows down from an altitude of 1,500 meters on the plateau of Yunnan to the Sichuan Basin, finally joining the Yangtze River in Hejian County near Luzhou. The water of the Sishu River has a special quality. It has been nicknamed the River of Fermentation. In Xianxi Town, lower down on the Sishu River, the unique Xianxi soy sauce is brewed.
We must use the water of the Chishui River to make our soy sauce. Because the water is very clear, the soy sauce it produces is very unique. My name is Chen Siwei. I was born in 1964, so I'm over 50 now. My main job is brewing soy sauce.
Chen Siwei is a fifth-generation inheritor of the Xianxi soy sauce brewing technique. He has lived by the river all his life. He first learned the skill at the age of 40 and has been making soy sauce for over a decade. These beans have all been soaked in river water, normally for 3 hours in summer and 5 in winter.
We only select soybeans grown on the riverbanks because the beans from that region contain more protein.
The soaked soybeans are then steamed in a huge wooden steamer for 12 hours.
There's a knack to knowing how long to steam them. Chew a bean and if it feels soft, it's ready.
When the beans have darkened in color, turn off the heat and leave the beans in the steamer for 12 hours. After that, the bean skins will have peeled off and the beans will have split in half. Cool the steamed beans on a woven pan until they're around 35 degrees Celsius.
After they have been cooled, flour is added. Without the flour, the microorganisms won't grow or become active.
The beans are mixed with flour and put into an incubation room. 2 days later, white mold starts to appear on the beans. This mold is not artificially produced by Chen Siwei. It results from mold spores exclusively found in the Qishui River. It grows here naturally before fermentation begins. Chen calls this process preparing the fermentation. Temperature control is essential for this process.
It's cold. First, without a thermometer, we feel it with our hands to properly test the temperature. Bring in the stove. If the temperature is too high, then the mold will be burned and will not thrive, or be killed. If the temperature is too low, the process won't work either. In that case, a heater is needed to raise the temperature.
When the white mold has covered the beans, it is kept at a constant temperature for 5 days and gradually turns a yellowish green, ready for fermentation. Chen pours the prepared beans into fermentation pots and adds a saline solution of 18 to 20 degree balm and mixes them even. These soybeans lie silently in over 600 century-old fermentation pots, taking part in a stately ceremony, baking in the sun and absorbing dew. This process will last for 3 years. During these 3 years, the microorganisms in the Qishui River will enter the pots again and mix with the soybeans. The array of pots is laid out in neat rows on a 45 degrees slope of the riverbank. Such a perfectly angled slope is especially good to catch more sunshine. There is a sharp bend in the river here, forming a small bay and producing a lot of moisture, so the pots can absorb plenty of dew. After 1,000 days and nights, the soy sauce gradually starts to appear.
500 kilos of soybeans can produce 40 to 50 kilos of soy sauce.
From the soaking of the soybeans to the point where the Xianxi sauce is ready involves more than 10 different stages and takes 3 years to complete. Chen spends his life wandering between the river and the soy sauce. He is planning to do this for the rest of his life.
I will do this as long as I can. When I am satisfied and my children are able to take over, I will stop. But I won't quit until I am too old.
An old saying in China goes that water can be always found, however high in the mountain. In Tongjiang County, Guizhou Province, the highest rice paddy is at an altitude of 1,120 meters. The water irrigating the crop is a spring from the mountains. Viewed from a distance, the mountains and water blend in one.
I am Zhao Caixian. I was born here and I've lived here for over 30 years.
Zhao lives in Guoha village. The people here not only grow rice, but have also invented a unique way of bathing, the Yao medicinal bath. Today is his son's first birthday. He will bring the purest mountain spring water home in the purest way possible, so he can give his son a traditional Yao bath. While Zhao is cutting bamboo, Zhao Chengfu, a Yao doctor from the village, is searching for medicinal herbs on the cliff.
When I looked down from the cliff and saw how steep it was, I felt so nervous and I started sweating. I got so scared, so I bought professional climbing rope in the county town. Now I tie it to the big tree on top of the cliff and then climb down very slowly. When I find a place to stand firmly, I just stay there.
A traditional bath requires 7 or 8 kinds of medicinal herb. These herbs are only known to the Yao people. As the Yao have no traditional written form of their language, the names of the herbs are passed down orally. Therefore, they can only say the names of the herb in the Yao language. These mountains belong to them. They can go and pick the herbs any time they need them. It is 2 kilometers from the water source to Zhao's home. To ensure the purity of the water, a bamboo funnel will be used to transport it.
When I was young, my family was too poor to pay for my education. This is my greatest regret. On my son's first birthday, I want to give him a very grand celebration. I hope that when my son grows up, he can realize my dream and learn more.
In the eyes of Zhao and his fellow villagers, the Yao bath is a formal and sacred ceremony. Nobody knows exactly when this custom started, but according to Yao oral history, it has passed down through the generations. They have been bathing this way for millennia, since the very beginning of the world. That evening, the Yao doctor, Zhao Chengfu, returns from the mountain.
I climbed down the cliff and found 4 medicinal herbs.
Each Yao household has a large vat like this, big enough for one person to bathe in. The pure spring water is funneled straight into the vat, and then the herbs are boiled in it. After half an hour, the herbs start to give off a fragrance. The temperature is around 40 degrees Celsius. This wooden tub is the best bathing vessel. Only a wooden tub can channel the benefits of the medicinal herbs into the human body.
Our people have lived in these mountains for generations. When our forefathers took these baths, they found it was beneficial for health. We haven't visited any other places. We have always lived here. For over 1,000 years, we have thrived here, thanks to the Yao bath.
Hong Kong and Guangdong have a subtropical climate. The hot summer can last as long as 7 months. The crisscross of rivers and streams in the region make this area of southern China hot and humid. People can easily get sick due to this, but herbs found in this place can cure all its ills. The local medicinal herbs of Guangdong have bitter cooling properties, giving birth to a herbal tea effective at removing inner heat, toxicity and humidity. Since the Eastern Jin dynasty, the tea has been representative of the culture of this area.
I am Wang Jianyi, a 5th-generation descendant of Wang Zebang. I grew up in the herbal tea store. The ground floor of my house was a store selling herbal tea, while the first floor was where we lived. I've been learning about herbal tea since my childhood.
Wang Jianyi is from Hong Kong. She was born into a family of herbal tea makers. In 1828, during the Qing dynasty, Wang Zebang, Her great-great-grandfather created the Wang Zibang herbal tea brand in Hershan, Guangdong. Later, one branch of the Wang family moved to Hong Kong, while the other branch stayed on. They both made a living by selling herbal tea. Wang Zibang Herbal Tea is now a famous business, painstakingly run for nearly 2 centuries.
Wang Zibang Herbal Tea grew from a bowl of common herbal tea to a household name, making its reputation during the epidemic periods. There was an epidemic in each generation, but our tea had a palliative effect during these epidemics. In the year of the SARS outbreak, our herbal tea was so popular in Hong Kong that it sold out.
The tea is made with 3 flowers, 3 herbs and 1 herbal leaf. Wang Jianyi adds Chinese mesona, frangipani, microsis leaf, chrysanthemum, honeysuckle, prunella vulgaris and Chinese licorice to fresh water and brings to the boil, and then it is brewed on a low heat for 1 hour. The recipe is not complex, but the secret is what order you add the herbs and how you heat them.
The secret of Wang Zibang Herbal Tea is primarily the control of heat. The timing of the application of high and medium heat is crucial to the entire process. The secret has been passed down for many generations. The secret recipe is passed down orally.
After 1 hour, the colour of the tea has grown darker. A waft of fragrance drifts out. A cup of authentic Wang Zibang herbal tea is ready. Besides liquid herbal tea, Wang also makes solid herbal tea. This solid one was invented by her father.
Back when my father fought against the Japanese, he invented the solid herbal tea in order to preserve the herbal tea for longer.
Pu'er tea leaves are soaked in the herbal tea to allow the leaves to fully absorb the medicinal effects of the herb. Then the tea leaves are dried out and one only needs to add boiling water to drink it. This is the solid herbal tea. The solid herbal tea is easy to transport. In a few days, Miss Wang is going to visit her relatives in Guangzhou. She's going to take them solid herbal tea as a gift. Hearing that their elder sister is coming, Wan Tianzhou and Wan Tianyu go out to pick frangipani flowers early in the morning, which is also used in herbal tea. The brothers are descendants of the branch of the Wang family on the Chinese mainland. During the anti-Japanese war, their ancestors' herbal tea store was destroyed. When the Japanese army invaded Guangzhou in 1938, the store on Jingyuan Road in Guangzhou, the first herbal tea store Wang Zibang opened over 100 years before, was reduced to rubble by Japanese bombs. After the store was destroyed, Wang Zibang's descendants in Guangzhou fled for their lives. Wang Zibang herbal tea, which had been sold for 110 years, almost disappeared. After the anti-Japanese war, the family finally managed to rebuild their store on Haiju Road in Guangzhou. After much hardship, the store still keeps the skill of Wang Zibang alive today.
Taking the direct train today took me back to the time when my grandfather came to Hong Kong to expand his herbal tea business. At that time, there were no herbal tea stores at all. Our herbal tea store was the first in Hong Kong. Sister! Hello! Hi!
Grandma!
I brought you some gifts.
What is it?
Herbal tea.
Thank you, Grandma.
At first, my brothers and sisters were all in the herbal tea business, but the rest of them quit. They gave it up. Now, I am the only one still making it. I have imparted Wang Zibang's herbal tea formula to Jia Duo Bao so that our herbal tea culture can be carried forward.
The reunion is a happy one. For this family, life has been like a taste of their herbal tea. The hardships have been bitter, but the rewards leave a sweet aftertaste. Compared to Hong Kong, northwestern China has little rainfall. The precipitation is mainly affected by the summer monsoon. It arrives, then moves inland from the southeast coast, gradually dwindling as it travels northwest, reducing the level of precipitation as it goes. In many areas of northwest China, it's hard to find fresh water.
My name is Dong De Gui. I am 67. Since 1983, I've been the branch secretary of the Qianshan commune of Donghe village in Gansu.
Dong De Gui's house is on the juncture of the Low-West Plateau and the Qinghai Tibet Plateau. It seldom rains throughout the year. 9 years out of 10, there is a drought.
If a visitor asks for a steamed bun, we can give him one. We could happily give him half a kilo. But if he asks for water, we must refuse. Even a bowl of oil is not enough in exchange for a bowl of water. If you offer me a bowl of oil for my water, I will pass.
Not long ago, he discovered that his water cellar was leaking. He needs to build a new one immediately.
Well, I've been searching for days in vain. Let's check that side. Right on that spot. That spot might work over there.
Without rain from above, they can only depend on water from the ground. But the soil composition is complex here. It makes the underground water supply bitter, unsuitable for people or animals to drink. So Dong De Gui's forefathers invented a water storage cellar to survive in this harsh environment. They used it to collect rain as a source of drinking water for the entire family. Now, each of the 52 households in Donghe village has a water storage cellar. Building a cellar is not an easy project. It requires 3 to 5 men working continuously for at least 10 days. Today, Dong asked 2 of his old partners to help him.
Hey, how about this place? You can't store water here.
The worst thing you can do is choosing the wrong place. It has to be a place where rain can be collected.
This side of the hill is good. It won't collect water here. Let's find another place. Come on. The location must be somewhere the water will flow down during a rainstorm. That's where we should dig. This is a good spot.
The water cellar Dong is going to dig is made up of 2 parts. The upper part is like an upside-down water jar. They expand the width of the pot as they dig deeper. This upside-down water jar is not for storing the water, but used to direct the water deeper into the water cellar so that the water inside will not freeze during winter or get too hot in summer. The lower part is quite the opposite of the upper part. It looks just like a water jar standing the right way up. The deeper it gets, the narrower it will be. This is where the water will be stored. The source of the water cellar is rain that runs down from the mountain. However, this runoff is mixed with weeds and animal feces. Some material is necessary to filter the miscellaneous pollution from the water and purify it. When the cellar is 3 meters deep, Dong De Gui and his friends stop digging and go searching for the essential material, red soil or laterite.
Look, here's the red soil. We have searched for this for days. What a lot of trouble we have just for a bit of clean water. This is solid. This will work. There are no stones in it. It's quite pliable.
Red laterite is a sedimentary soil-like substance on the Low-West Plateau. In the late Paleocene era, around 65 million years ago, a series of strong, complex physical and chemical weathering effects combined to produce this red soil. It is hard in texture, porous with low permeability. Coating the water reserve section of the water cellar with laterite can purify the water supply and prevent water contamination.
A single water cellar requires 80 baskets of red soil, 40 full loads. We have to carry them or use a donkey.
The red soil must be smashed up into powder and soaked overnight to remove its hardness. Dong and his friends carry the red soil home 2 kilometers away. Now it's already 4 p.m. He wants to soak the red soil before it gets dark. They take no rest and immediately start smashing up the hard red soil.
First, we dry it in the sun. The drier it is, the easier it is to soak. Generally, soaking it for a whole day is enough. When the red soil has been soaked enough, we add loess to the mix. Then we give it a whack or a twist to test it. If there's not enough loess, the soil will crack. We can't use soil that cracks, so we have to add more loess to test it again. Give it another whack. When it doesn't crack anymore, it means the proportions are about right.
After the hard red soil is broken up, sun-dried and mixed, it is made into cylinders pointed at both ends like nails. As the days go by, the water cellar gets deeper and deeper. All the elders in the village know that the most dangerous part of digging a water cellar is the risk of collapse.
Slowly, slowly, slowly.
This dry water cellar is also known as a ball-shaped water cellar with narrow mouth and bottom and wide middle. If the center of gravity of the water cellar is imbalanced and the stress is not evenly distributed, it could collapse. Calculating the isometric radius aims to give the circumference the same equal balance of stress.
Is it centered? That way a little. Is it round? Which side? To the right. This side? How's this? That's good. Is it okay? Yeah.
On the seventh day, the walls of the cellar have been fortified. Now the red soil is dry, so it's time to affix it to the walls of the water cellar.
Did you dig the hole properly? I did. Dig a 10-finger-wide hole both sideways and vertically. Just the way your wife makes shoe soles. Dig one line sideways and the other vertically.
To affix the red mud to the walls of the cellar, Dong adopts the principle of inlaying. The men carve many deep holes in the walls of the water cellar. The openings of the holes are small, but the inside is wider. They are staggered in arrangement. The deep eyes are called wedging eyes. Flax water is very viscous and acts as a glue. The cylinders of mud soaked in flax water are inlaid in the wedging eyes. The section of mud left outside is repeatedly punched with a wooden hammer. The red mud binds together and spreads, so that the water storage section of the water cellar is completely covered. Now the dry water cellar is finished and ready to hold water.
Dear God, please send more rain so that the people of Longhuang village can live a better life.
Water is a gift from nature. This humble substance benefits everything. These springs have flowed for 3,000 years, and people are bound to their waters. These men and women, supporting their families with their craft, amass earth into mountains and water into seas. They have not only invented thousands of skills that use water, but have also learned from water, developing the water-like cultural characteristic of virtue, contributing to the formation of modest and reserved Chinese national character. One thing is known for certain, the harmonious bond between Chinese people and water that has existed throughout the profound history of Chinese civilization. will endure forever.
My name is Wu Yueming. I'm 20 years old. I'm of the Miao ethnicity. Ready? Go!
Come on!
Come on!
Come on! The sauce made from black soybeans is very thick as aged soy sauce.
It has the same function as a spa, and there's the tea fragrance. It will be absorbed into your body, so you'll feel very comfortable. It will relax you, as all pressure will be taken away.